Hey, Foot Clan, Omaha Steaks gourmet holiday gifts make life a whole lot easier and a whole lot more delicious. They have a great limited-time offer, 28 favorites, guaranteed to thrill, Jason, for only $49.99. That's a $195 value. Here's what you do. omahasteaks.com, type fantasy in the search bar, and then add the family gift package to your cart. That's omahasteaks.com. Type fantasy in the search bar. Don't wait. Order today.
Hey, this is Kenyon Drake. You're listening to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, coming to you from Draft.com Studios with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome in.
It's a bear. How embarrassing.
Got any others?
That's the first one that came to my mind. I got nothing.
Because it's unbearable.
Yes.
Sometimes to do a show with just you. Monday, December 10th, Jason is here.
Well,
Center
of course,
stage.
I'm always here except when I'm throwing up.
Yeah. There's a bear. There's a bear where Mike used to be. Mike's gone this week, so we are going to be holding it down. And we've got a ton to talk about here. I am Andy Holloway. Brooks is here.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. My goodness. Sometimes fantasy football is a lot like Adam Sandler's filmography, Jason. Did you know that?
That is a perfect comp.
You got to take the good with the bad.
I mean, there are some real highs.
Some
in
real
that
stinkers.
filmography list. Happy Gilmore.
Oh, come on. Billy Madison?
Oh, the Billy Madison way. But there's some
money grabs in there.
You know, there's some what is all the parent doesn't he have a list of, I don't know.
You don't even remember them.
I feel like the movie's called like Parent Friends.
You're thinking of Grown-Ups.
There it is.
Grown-Ups.
Exactly.
Parent Friends.
This movie's called Grown-Ups.
You were kind of remembering it. You were trying not to remember it, which is what some fantasy owners are going to have to do this week. They're going to do their best to wipe the memories, to go full Men in Black, just take a pill, forget what happened. I mean, I tweeted this morning, how'd you like to go into the fantasy playoffs, right? And let's roll this lineup out there. Let's go with the Jared Goff, Todd Gurley stack.
Oh, I would not want to face that.
What if my other running back was Leonard Fournette, and then I had Antonio Brown?
Oh, I'm going against the best. I don't want this.
Kenny G.
No.
Zach Ertz, baby.
Oh, no, I'm dead. I'm dead in the water. That's a superstar team.
Well, I'm going to flex Brandon Cooks.
Ouch, a flex?
Yeah, I'm going to flex Brandon Cooks out there for
Stacking with Goff?
Yeah. I know what you ended up with? Grown-ups.
Yeah.
You ended up with a theatrical debut of Grown-Ups.
Yes, you ended up with Friends.
Yeah.
I can't even remember the name.
Parent Friends. Well, we're going to help, we're going to help you deal with it. And if you won, congratulations. There were some huge winners this week. It just wasn't everybody you expected it to be. We've got a lot of the Monday Punday, the one-liners from the Foot Clan. We'll get into Rising Stars, Stud Muffins. And
this was the craziest first week of fantasy playoffs that I can remember in recent history because you had studs that blew it. You had, guys that are on waivers or maybe not started who we get plenty of pictures just blowing up for huge. I mean, this was a crazy week.
I saw you and I were both tagged on a tweet that we both replied to, and it was a person saying they dropped Amari Cooper to leave him as a landmine.
Oh. I
believe
believe what he meant was gold mine. I'm going to leave him here for the opponent to find a gold mine.
And we both said the same thing. We go, no, you can't do that. No. He's a must start in Dallas.
Yeah. I found oil.
I think he responded, or somebody responded, a leopard doesn't change its spots. Yeah, they do. He changed teams. He's really, really good now. But we have a ton to get into. Follow us on Twitter at the FF Ballers. Follow us all off season as well. This show keeps going. We get you. We reflect on the past season, lessons we've learned, all the players to pay attention to, things to remember, things we learned.
Well, and you guys are going to be part of the footies right after the season.
Yeah, the awards.
Make the list of nominees. You guys will vote to decide, who was the best nickname, who was the biggest poop in their pants award, who was the superstar, those are fun. That's a fun voting process.
Here are some Punday one-liners from the Foot Clan, always delivering. Well, most often. Most often. We've got a lot of people with the Amari super reference. That's the low-hanging fruit there.
It rhymes.
Trying to recuperate after the Cowboys game.
If you played against them, good luck.
Yeah, even if you played with them on your team, it was a lot of points to take in.
That could dehydrate you watching that game for sure.
Have Amari Christmas? Okay, that makes sense.
That one.
Or if you're really lucky, have yourself Amari Kittle Christmas.
Oh, that's nice.
I would like that.
I would want that stack.
Brooks and I both have a bye in two different leagues, and we both have George Kittle. And it's better to have the bye, right? That's a free win, Brooks. But didn't it just feel like you wanted to save some of those points for next week?
Oh, yeah.
32 fantasy points in the first half in our league. Oh, goodness.
Yeah, that's nuts.
You had the crazy. Oh, we got some Kittle ones. Say hello to my Kittle friend.
Say hello to my Kittle friend.
Kittle little friend. A Kittle goes a long way. Yes, it does. I had more tweets after that first half of how 44 fab was well worth it. Well worth it. He's on pace for like 1,400 receiving yards. I get by with a Kittle help from my friends. I should have sung that one, but Mike's not here to scold me. That would have been smart. The Grand Kenyon.
Oh, man.
Kenyon Drake.
Shout out to my best bud right there.
That was your friend, Brooks?
Yep, Joel. Shout out.
The Grand Kenyon.
That
one of the 7 wonders of the world.
Play was awesome. Going into the week, everything you heard is Tom Brady can't win in Miami. Tom Brady can't win in Miami. He's like 1-4 going in, and then the game is over, and you're going, see, he can win.
Well,
oh, wait a minute. What is this play?
I think they said like December, other divisional games, or just December games. He's like 29-2, and he's like 1-6 against them, or 1-5. And well, I want to know who strapped the ice skates onto Rob Gronkowski before the play. That's what I want to know.
It's a smart move.
I Drake your milkshake. Oh, start of the week. Adrian Poop and Peterson.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
It's right to the point.
You don't have to impress
Poop
me,
and Peterson. No, Adrian Poop and Peterson.
Well, then you must appreciate Antonio Flush It Down if it's Brown.
I like Antonio Brown too much. I don't.
That hurts.
That one hurts me. I thought he was going to be the undoing of my fantasy matchup early in the day.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to lose, and it was all because I had the best wide receiver in the game.
Antonio Frown? Is that who you're talking about?
Antonio Frown, that's right.
Alone for the Galladays? Sometimes size and stature doesn't get you very far. Kenny G, Cortland Sutton.
Well, at least Cortland Sutton had an injury to deal with.
Yeah, that's what I've been telling myself. Scam Newton? Scam Newton? Yeah, we've been talking about the playoff matchup. He did not show up. Also Cam Poopin. So
his teammates did, thankfully. It's weird because almost everybody that you started there in Carolina, you were happy with except for Cam.
I haven't read these yet. My opponent went to Jared, and now I'm in the semis. I like that one. He went to Jared. Yeah, Jared Goff. I saw a screenshot this morning, Brooks. A guy needed 0.5 points from Jared Goff to win going into the game. He got -0.3.
Wow.
4 interceptions, 180 yards passing.
That just seems impossible.
It seems
that hurts me.
Painful.
As the opponent, you go into that game saying maybe he gets injured on the first play while he throws up some crazy, while he's getting hit and it's an interception. So he gets -2 and he's out for the game. He played the whole game. He played the whole game, passed a lot, and finished negative.
And we've been saying around the studio, and look, I've already heard from the Rams fans. Blame the O-line, whatever. I would blame the Bears, personally. But he has looked a little bit off.
Yeah,
Jared off the last 3 weeks.
If you go back and listen to the last matchup, I talked about how worried I was about Goff. That was a real trap type of game going on. He hasn't been good since he lost Cooper Kupp. He was on the road in 20-degree weather against a great matchup, great pass rush. It was one of those like, feel like you're going to start him, but you're going to regret it.
Yeah, Lions game, 51% passing, 207-1. And Bears, 45% passing, the 4 picks. Passer rating of 19.
Ooh.
That reminded he was having ghosts of Jeff Fisher passed in that game. Fools, Golden Tate. Yeah, Tyler Boyd. I like that. Deshaun went Hamilton. Yeah, I'm not sure I would qualify it as went ham. I mean, what did he put up? Deshaun?
Deshaun was okay.
Compared to Sutton.
I certainly would not say he went ham. Ham is like 202.
Yeah, 7 for 47-1. That's good. That's great. Cortland sitting next week. And then I'm closing it out with my demoralizing tale of the week, which is Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill.
Now, let me ask you.
I'm going to be monitoring that situation. Tyreek Hill going out and in and out and in with the injury.
Let me ask this question for you. Tyreek Hill.
Yes.
Is that spelled H-E-E because of the foot, or is that a command and it's spelled H-E-A because you need him?
I would like Tyreek to heal.
Yeah.
Yes. I would
Tyreek
like his heel. I would like his heel to heal.
Okay.
I would write it like this. I'd write H-E-E-L and then I put the 2. You know what I mean? Like this in the corner, like to the power of 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Little science joke. Crickets.
That's crickets right there. That's a math
You're
joke.
more of a
first and foremost.
You're more of a Pooper Peterson type of.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Know your audience.
Yeah, my bad. The bear didn't give me much. FootClanVote.com. Make sure you check it out. Help support us. We've got the iHeartRadio Podcast Awards coming in January. Let's go ahead and dig into the Rewind.
Weekly Rewind.
Odell Beckham Jr., I talked about it on the live stream on Sunday morning, because we didn't get news of Odell missing this game until late in the weekend. He was out with a quad injury. Surprise.
It was crazy. I mean, we knew he was dealing with a quad injury in practice, but it never seemed like he had any chance of missing the game. And then it's like, oh, yeah, he didn't make the trip.
Yeah. So, and then
which is why apparently Eli Manning was so good. How does that work?
I don't know. There's a lot of pressure sometimes thrown to the numero uno, force feeding him. Now he did what he wants to do, target Benny Fowler. That's really his
He's
life,
always wanted to.
His life goal. Austin Eckler suffered a stinger in Week 14. I was reading about this morning, Pro Football Doc weighing in. It'll be interesting to see what happens to Austin Eckler. On the game's Thursday for them. It's a big game, obviously. Will Melvin Gordon return? Justin Jackson didn't perform in a matchup where, look, it was against the Bengals. And he had some opportunities. Not good. Just trash. So we'll watch Austin Eckler. We'll keep you up to date. This was big news. LaShawn McCoy, for once, was injured and didn't return after suffering a hamstring injury. Most of the time he goes off the field, checks his email, and comes back in. Right.
It makes you worried for next week. And actually, you should also be monitoring because of the fact he didn't come back in. It's like, he probably doesn't have a leg anymore. You have to monitor Chris Ivory because Chris Ivory went out of that game as well. So it could be Marcus Murphy. We'll know a little bit more by the waiver wire show tomorrow, but Marcus Murphy might be a good waiver wire pickup.
Well, depending on what the fantasy leagues do, maybe they'll just designate Josh Allen as a running back because he's putting up more yardage than just about anybody on that team.
Than any running backs
Correct.
in the league.
Correct. Tyreek Hill played through the injury on Sunday, told NBC Sports' Peter King this morning, my foot is bad.
Yeah, super naughty.
I'm hoping it's more of a
cold.
Michael Jackson.
Oh, you know
what I mean?
it? Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah, you know it.
Yeah.
I was with you.
All right. Jordan Reed suffered a foot injury, didn't return. Big Ben exited briefly. Again, he's another guy that you normally hear gets banged up. It was surprising not to see him out there. Came back into the game, led them down the field.
The Jordan Reed one we glossed over, but that's his foot. He's done. I'm just saying Jordan Reed is not one to be a quick recoverer from injury.
No. He doesn't heal well. Isaiah Crowell suffered a foot injury. We'll talk tomorrow waiver show, but look, opportunities there in New York at the running back position. We'll see. Cortland Sutton dealt with a thigh injury against the 49ers. You could see he wasn't on the field very often. Also, Case Keenum's really bad. That didn't help. Nothing downfield. Case Keenum, he had the internal clock of like -1 second before he would throw a screen pass to somebody very, very covered. It was always Matt Lacoste with a guy on him. It was Philip Lindsay with a guy on him. It was really an embarrassing performance to me for Case Keenum. He just did not stay in the pocket, did not drive the ball down the field, did not challenge with the size of Cortland Sutton. I was hoping if you're a Broncos defense owner, you needed them to win this game. The Ravens and Steelers lost. This was an opportunity for Denver to possibly make the playoffs.
No, it was a huge game, but
lose to the 49ers.
I mean, some of it you lost. If you're Case Keenum, you lost to Demarius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders, and you're playing with nothing but rookies. So it's difficult.
Yeah, I agree with you. Kind of looks a little bit like how Matthew Stafford looks, which is you've lost Golden Tate and you don't look like you're in a comfort zone anymore. Bruce Ellington of the Lions left with a hamstring injury, didn't return. Lamar Jackson didn't play the final 2 snaps of the game because of an ankle injury. His x-rays were negative.
This will be really interesting because it was negative. He's going to be fine. You know who else is fine? Cleared to play?
Joe Flacco. You know what's crazy, too, is I saw John Harbaugh's face. It didn't look like a face that wanted to play Lamar Jackson next week after he had that fumble that basically cost him the game. I don't know. He just looked beyond frustrated with that play. We'll see what happens with the injury. Corey Clement suffered a sprained knee. It looked worse than it actually ended up. And then Mark Sanchez. Surprise, surprise. First time he was starting a game in something like 1,200 days, and he was benched for a player signed this week.
He was not the surprise. We all knew he was going to stink and be terrible and be the worst. The real surprise was Josh Johnson. What in the world? He hasn't thrown a pass since 2011.
You're talking about the number 11 quarterback on the week, Josh Johnson, who's played in the third quarter?
Yes, the quarterback one who was still listed as inactive in a lot of different places because, I don't know, he's been out of the league for half a decade. More. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, he's going to stink next week.
He's my rising star.
Oh, please no.
Not really.
Doug Baldwin, Monday Night Football tonight, game time decision. When we submit like our rankings earlier in, before the weekend, we have to make decisions on whether a player is going to play or not. I chose to go the direction of he's not playing. I don't think Doug Baldwin's going to go, but he is one of the toughest players in football, and he's got the power of persuasion over the history of his Seattle tenure.
I made the bet that he's going to be in the game and irrelevant.
So 4 touchdowns.
He's my wide receiver 40-something.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. We'll keep you up to date with all the latest injury news this week as you prepare the waiver show tomorrow. We're going to talk some studs. Before we do that, I want to talk about the stud up on the wall. You got an autographed Juju Smith-Schuster jersey looking nice, and he is such a good player. He is such a good player.
I believe he leads the league in red zone targets right now, which is very nice.
He is great, and a couple of just really amazing catches. Got the autographed jersey up there from Pristine Auction. We pick up autographed jerseys from Pristine Auction all the time. These guys got me a gift of an Arian Foster autographed jersey from there one time for my birthday, and you got Christmas right around the corner. Listen to some things that just sold on Pristine Auction. Odell Beckham Jr. signed Chrome Mini Helmet, $98. Todd Gurley signed photo, $55. Stephon Diggs signed jersey, $94. Vance Dance, you want to do the Vance Dance with a jersey of Vance McDonald that's autographed by him?
Yeah, 100 and what?
$50.
What?
Yeah, $50.
Just $50?
All authentic autographs from one of the best companies in the business on one of the best websites on the World Wide Web, pristineauction.com.
Hey, in Foot Clan, want to make sure, look, the holidays are coming up, that you are aware of Movement watches. These are not just watches. These are timepieces. These are fashion statements. And, look, they are focused on the combination of great high-fashion style that don't break the bank. I mean, you're talking about Movement watches starting at just $95. Meanwhile, you're looking at $400 for the same quality from other traditional brands. I have 2 of them. They're my 2 best-looking watches. You know, you're going out at night. to some good event, you put on one of these timepieces. It's a statement. It's a great gift. If you need help picking a perfect gift this season, you don't know where to start, the guys over at Movement have got your back. They did all the hard work by curating their favorite styles into awesome gift boxes and packages, so you don't have to. And you can get 15% off with free shipping and free returns by going to movement.com/footballers. That's MVMT.com/footballers. They're launching new styles on their site all the time. Check out their latest at MVMT.com/footballers. MVMT.com/footballers. Join the movement.
This week's Fantasy Stud Muffins.
Shout out to the Bears, by the way.
Oh, they were a stud muffin.
What an incredible defense. What an incredibly surprising. Like, I think we all sided on the Sean McVay finds a way to score 30 points side of things this week. So,
yeah,
shame on us, I guess. Jay Grizz was trying to tell us that this was going to happen.
That crowd, man. I mean, honestly, shout out to the Chicago fans out there in the 20-degree weather. That was just like, if I was a Ram, I don't think I'd want to be there. I'd just be like, this is a bad environment for me.
This week, and now everybody has their fantasy surprises, disappointments, and we're going to talk about the studs right now. But this week in the NFL, if you want to know why things go sideways for certain players with certain expectations, good or bad, just look at the NFL. I mean, 3 of the worst teams in the league won this week, right? And then you had games like, okay, first of all, the Browns, by the way, 3rd win under their head coach, which is the total amount of wins that Hugh Jackson had. But they beat the Panthers this week. Okay, so they've won 3 games in the last 5, I believe. And then the Chargers barely squeaked by the Bengals. That looked like a gimme. The Giants crushed the Redskins.
The Oakland Raiders
beat the Steelers.
That one is unbelievable. I don't care if you missed Big Ben for a little bit of time. If you didn't have Big Ben the whole time, you should have trounced the Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, the Saints looked as bad as you can look in winning 28-14 against Tampa, in my opinion.
Oh, for sure.
The Jets beat the Bills. The Raiders, the Jets, I mean, these are all teams, and the 49ers.
The Giants, the 49ers, they're all winners.
I mean, and as a Cardinal fan, having lost horribly once again, hopefully you started the Lions D. It makes me happy because we're back in it for that #1 pick.
Maybe get a quarterback.
Oh. Yeah. Well, let's.
Sorry, Josh. Hashtag not sorry.
Who did you apologize to?
Josh Rosen.
Oh. I'd say sorry. Wish it was Josh Allen as the quarterback.
Yeah, well, I don't want either. So
stud muffins this week: Tom Brady, Dak Prescott, Ryan Tannehill, Andrew Luck, back on track. Pat Mahomes didn't really win you the week, but he sure showed me something. 53 pass attempts, no Kareem Hunt, facing the best defense in the league, and going the no-look pass route.
That was unbelievable. When you watch the play live, you thought that was a really good pass. He bought time. It was just a pro move. It looked really veteran. And then when you watch it from the Madden angle, the angle from behind the quarterback, you go, oh, that is not a veteran move. That is an idiotic. He no-look passed, but not like no-look past a screen. He no-look past a guy running 15 yards down the field across between defenders. It was like nothing I'd ever seen.
And traditionally, you look off the safety and then you look at your receiver and throw them the football.
Keep your eyes on the target.
The whole
That's
look
what I
at
always
the
hear.
receiver.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to look off the safety, and that guy's got the ball, sucker.
Yeah. So, I got some breaking news.
Oh.
Breaking news.
It looks like we were the runner-up in the sports category for the Discover Pods Awards. What? Just announced.
Oh, well.
ESPN's 30 for 30. Congratulations. You won the sports award. We were selected as the runner-up.
Oh.
How does that feel?
It doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
And let me just say this. I am look, ESPN's 30 for 30 series is awesome, and they are
very different. I mean, that's a documentary series.
Yes.
They don't say poop or pee at all.
No, and that's my big problem is it's like, I get it. The tie is tight and the buttons are up.
Yeah. I mean, we could do documentary style, no problem.
Oh,
right?
Sure. Well, I couldn't. I mean, I would be so bored.
Yeah.
But you and Mike would be great with that. No, it feels bad. So congratulations.
Breaking news.
ESPN.
It feels bad. I thought you would be, runner-up. I mean, that's kind of your wheelhouse.
Well, what I feel like is runner-up is the first loser. So
I know.
You win some, you lose some. You lose in the championship game, you get no credit. I don't go around going, well,
Second
at least
place.
I got to the championship game. My heart is broken.
Okay, so I've just completely disintegrated all of your joy for this show.
Yep, thank you.
Well, I mean, at the quarterback position, I don't see a ton of stuff to discuss. I mean, Dak Prescott is looking great with Amari Cooper. If Amari Cooper can deliver big play capabilities, it just takes one.
You can't forget that over Dak Prescott's first,
42 for 54.
His first 20 games or so in his career, he was a fantasy force, a top 12 quarterback week in, week out, and with Amari Cooper and with the momentum, the mental, look, they're on fire right now. I think he's a guy you can stick with. He's playing at Indianapolis this next week, then Tampa Bay to finish it out. So Dak Prescott, if you need to pivot at quarterback, you're still in it. He's a great option. I was most impressed probably Tom Brady impressed me because he has struggled on the road and he was low. He finished number 1. So, yeah, not too much to discuss. Matt Ryan pulled out a game even though he was stinking. Like, watching the game, it was like he just didn't look that good.
Derrick Henry, we know the story, 17 for 238 and 4 when you get into the running back studs. Saquon Barkley is super good at football, 14 for 170 and 1. You get the feeling at any given moment, on any given play. I mean, you see the best. Let me ask this question because I was talking to some people yesterday, and I don't want to just be like, okay, Gurley had his worst game of the year. Barkley ran for 170. But is there a pure runner in football? Like if it's Barkley, David Johnson, Ezekiel Elliott, Todd Gurley,
Le'Veon Bell.
Those are the 5 that
Christian
you're thinking
McCaffrey,
about.
Maybe.
I mean, I don't think there's a better pure runner than Saquon Barkley.
I don't think there's a better running back. I don't think there's a better pass catcher. Maybe David Johnson could be in the pass catching category, but Saquon Barkley is the best running back in football. He does not require the offensive line like most players do. I mean, we've seen David Johnson struggle this year without the good offense around him. We've seen Todd Gurley struggle when Jeff Fisher was there and a bad offensive line. There's a lot of metrics that track the offensive line versus the running back, and the two most reliable places that I've looked at before, Todd Gurley has been the same the last 3 years as far as his tracking. What has changed so dramatically is the offensive line. Saquon, what if they actually get an offensive line in the future and an offense? Like
he's ridiculous. His balance, his vision, ran for another 170. I think he's been over 100 for 4 straight games. I think he's just behind Gurley and Zeke for the league leader at that category. But next week, set it, forget it. Tennessee at home, play them, and then championship week, you get Indianapolis for Saquon Barkley. Zeke was great again. I mean, he's right in that category, 28 for 113. He's awesome, and he's got Indianapolis coming up,
and
then
he
Tampa.
Was a wide receiver as well.
Yeah, 12 for 79. Wow.
I mean, that's what we've always dreamed about with Zeke, and I know, Brooks, you're on the other side of the bracket. I'm hoping to meet you in the championship. Between the two of us, we've got
Dynasty League,
a 50% chance of getting that championship. And I guess you and Mike had the buys in the League of Records, so the Ballers are representing 50% chance in 2 different leagues, so we'll get one. That's math.
Damian Williams. Thoughts on Damian Williams, Jason? I know you're a huge fan.
Oh man, he is.
You've spoke his praises for years. Talent-wise,
talent-wise, I do think that he is among the worst. But he must have such a good attitude in practice that he
2 touchdowns, Jason.
Yes, 2 touchdowns, 8 for 14. So it's very efficient. Got a touchdown, and then he had another pass-catching touchdown. He'll be involved.
Spencer Ware was dealing with a couple injuries during the game.
He was.
Yeah, at one point, Andy and I thought he broke his collarbone the way he went down and stayed on the ground and was grabbing it. But we'll keep an eye on that.
Who would you rather have as a platoon running back moving forward? Damian Williams of the Kansas City Chiefs, Jalen Samuels for as long as you get him in Pittsburgh, or Jeff Wilson Jr.?
If I knew that all 3 were, if Jalen Samuels and Jeff Wilson's situation was not changing, I would want both of those guys ahead of Damian Williams.
All right, Joe Mixon kept running hard. 26 for 111 and 1. Great matchup next week. Oakland at home. Christian McCaffrey was great again. He should have had 3 touchdowns, ended up with 2. That's if you're really greedy. He's got 12 touchdowns in his last 7 games. 12.
Nice. Christian McCaffrey.
I'm really excited not to play him next week because it looks like I'm not going to face him in our league of record after the bye, and I faced him like what 4 times this year
because he kept getting traded, right?
Yeah, he kept getting traded to my opponent, and then he would just score 1 billion points against me.
Well, it is. I'm interested to see what happens next week because New Orleans has pretty much shut down the running back position. But Christian McCaffrey, because he's utilized the way he is.
I thought you were going to tell me they're going to trade McCaffrey in the NFL ahead of next week's matchup.
After the deadline, just because of Andy Holloway's team. But that'll be interesting. Kind of, two
He's
forces.
Just too involved.
Yeah, I agree
too
with
involved. That. Wide receivers. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, we're hanging.
I don't know what that dance was I just did.
It was terrible.
Amari Cooper. It wasn't really a dance. I wasn't into it.
No, it was like.
Let me see you go. Much better.
That was worse.
Amari Cooper, 10 for 217 and 3. What do you do? What do you do? I know you play him now. He's got Indianapolis, Tampa coming up. But how good is Amari Cooper? How consistent will he be on the Dallas Cowboys heading into next season, assuming
it's the targets?
He gets an extension?
It's the targets that he'll head in. He'll get all the money in the world from Jerry Jones, and
he probably should. They were 3-5 when they traded for him. They're 8-5, dominating the division.
Yeah, they've won every game since they've had him. He was clearly they were lacking a number 1. And the thing is that I like about Amari Cooper, his talent has always been there. He just disappeared in targets so often. That's never going to happen with the Cowboys, it seems. They're so committed to making him the one and involving him in the offense, almost building the passing offense around Amari Cooper, that the talent has the opportunity to win out.
Well, and Cooper's never been consistent. That's been the problem. He's had boom games in Oakland.
His whole career.
It's just the consistent targets and being treated like the number 1 is the difference. You heard those rumors from Gruden on the way into the season, right? All the talk of Cooper, but the targets, Derek Carr's consistency, whatever it was, didn't work out.
What if one team had Mack and Cooper on it? That'd be a powerful.
Amari Cooper and Khalil Mack?
Yeah, that'd be a powerful team.
If you could trade for both those guys, just imagine your future.
Future'd be bright.
Really quick, I traded Amari Cooper in a league this year, partway through the year, when Dallas traded for him. I traded for Tevin Coleman. And
how do you feel about that?
I am now against that made me lose this week. I'm against Amari Cooper. So.
Oh my gosh.
How'd Tevin Coleman do this week?
He's on my bench because he has not panned out. So,
that stinks. I'm sorry to hear that, Brooks.
I was tweeting last night and Power Go on Twitter wrote as a reply, I think I was talking about how bad Goff was playing, and his reply was just, "Thank the Lord I have Amari Cooper." And I thought to myself, who in the right mind thought that would be a statement that someone was going to say 8 weeks ago? Thank goodness Amari Cooper saved me in my playoff matchup, but this is the NFL. Juju, Julio, big games from Juju Smith-Schuster and Julio Jones.
Julio touchdown Jones.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes, 1,400 yards for 5 consecutive seasons now for Julio, 2 touchdowns on 11 targets. It was going to even out. So
I was not sure. I mean, he's the one guy where he had a long enough history, but, man, since he started scoring touchdowns, he just does not want to stop. If you take a look at that little, what is it, 6-game stretch, he's on a 16-game pace of 13 touchdowns.
T.Y. Hilton, 9 for 199 on 12 targets.
He must be pretty disappointed.
Well, they didn't hit 200 or that he didn't score?
That he didn't hit 200.
See, I would be happy with the 199.
I wouldn't.
Yeah. Dallas, New York on the schedule for Hilton. You love seeing that. Luck is having a great season, averaging 8.5 targets, 95 yards, and 0.7 TDs against Houston historically. He just played great, and he saved a lot of people who had disappointing weeks from other players. Kenny Stills, 8 for 135 and 1 with Ryan Tannehill on 9 targets.
One very important lateral.
One extremely well-executed lateral.
I had Kenny Stills on my bench in Dynasty. I was very disappointed.
I bet you play him next week and he stinks. That's kind of his category.
I think I'll play him in Minnesota.
Yeah, exactly.
With a hurt Ryan
So he'll do
Tannehill.
well then. Just let me know if you're benching him or not. That's
Let me know
all I need to
if what's his name? Matt Moore is the quarterback.
Hey, 8 for 135.
I don't think he's on the roster, but if they sign him.
Big plays from Jarvis Landry, 3 for 57 and 1 through the air, 2 for 54 and 1 on the ground. Goes into Denver next week. How confident would you be in riding this wave that Jarvis Landry has?
I'd be pretty confident. Denver's bad at all phases of football, and
their defense has been playing very well lately.
I
that was a little bit strong.
No. Hold on. I apologize to Denver. My brain did a Jason Moore thing, and the Denver-Cincinnati switcheroo happened.
In your brain.
In my brain.
Because they're real close to each other.
Yeah, well,
geographically.
They're close in color, and that's genuinely what did it.
Oh, like the teams?
They're orange.
Teams?
They're both orange, so sorry. But I corrected my mistake. No, I would still ride the wave. I mean, the last 2 games, Landry has been great. Baker, we talked about him. We talked about him the last month every single week. He just looks like he should have been the #1 pick that he was, and he's fantastic. So could Jarvis disappoint? Could he disappear? Yeah, because if they scheme him out. But the thing is
he only had 3 catches this week. They just worked him into the running game, and it worked.
Yeah.
I think he's a bit fool's gold this week. People were talking about dropping Jarvis 2 weeks ago.
Yes, they were. I don't see the fool's gold.
Okay. Julian Edelman, 9 for 86 and 1 on 12 targets. Every play looked the exact same, but one of them went into the end zone.
Every other play. It was Gronk and Julian. It was like the Patriots of old.
Yeah, and then Tyreek Hill was 8 for 139 on a bad heel. Still faster than
faster
the other
than
players.
all the defensive players with half a foot.
Yeah. So hopefully he uses the half a foot and plays on Thursday. It doesn't make me want to cry.
No. Get healthy,
Brooks, do you realize my 2 league of record wide receivers are Odell Beckham Jr. and Tyreek Hill?
Yeah.
I was feeling real good about 3 days ago.
You're happy with the bye. Actually, you didn't even need that. You had Odell Beckham in your lineup because you were on bye. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
And in a league where you try to score more than 100, you had 167 points?
Yeah.
You have not had your kicker yet.
Yeah, Kittle's pretty good.
That helps.
Speaking of Kittle, Stud Muffins at the tight end position, 7 for 210 and 1 on 9 targets. Shame on you, Kyle Shanahan. You couldn't get him 1 catch for 5 yards in the entire second half to get him the all-time record at the position. Do you realize how bad that is?
Really?
That is really bad. And I watched the post-game press conference with Kyle Shanahan, and he gave a game ball to George Kittle, and he's like, 210, right? Right? I think 215 is the record.
No.
Good game. Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah. He's like, it's probably on me.
It?
He goes, it's probably on me. He didn't care.
Wow.
But neither did fantasy owners. 7 for 210 and 1.
I love this this accuracy level on Madden. Do you know what Madden's catch after the catch ability is for George Kittle?
For Kittle?
Yeah. It's 99. It's
really?
Boom. I don't know. It's a note. I hope it's the truth.
He has a very cool ability to change direction without losing his speed in open space, if you notice that. His hips are on like this little road. He's got hips that don't lie, Brooks, is what I'm saying.
Oh, Shakira is so proud of her son, George Kittle.
Yeah, very
large
related.
he has grown. What do you do with him next year?
With Hinton?
With him next year.
Oh, George Kittle.
I mean, you're getting your quarterback back.
I think you have great confidence in George Kittle next year because of Kyle Shanahan and the offense.
Is he the tight end 4?
Behind who? Ertz, Kelsey,
and Gronk?
He's ahead of Gronk.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's ahead of Gronk next year.
Yeah, that makes sense. No injury risk, or I can't say that with either guy, but less injury risk at the age than Gronk. Kittle
is really, really good. But this breakout season instills, confidence in the offense to feature him. He needs to be featured regularly, and he does. He has these big plays all the time.
Gronk was back, though, 8 for 107 and a touchdown. Yeah. This is what everybody's been waiting for. All the Gronk owners are crying because they're not in the playoffs.
Right, I was going to say.
The first week of the playoffs, they go, that's what I drafted you for.
I know.
Now, let me ask you this. Genuine question.
Yes.
We both watched the game. We saw Gronk on every other play. have you – because my opinion was like, man, I don't know if I've ever seen a worse-looking 107-yard – every play to me, Gronk looks like an old man. He looks between prime Gronk and modern-day Antonio Gates. He's like right smack dab in the middle to me.
He is I saw a stat. He had 6 touchdowns outside the numbers, right? Those extended longer routes last year. He only has 6 catches outside the numbers this year. Obviously got into the end zone. Obviously he's humongous. He will never lose being humongous. Antonio Gates has made that his main feature for 3.
He's even grown into that.
Yeah, he's really grown into that role. But Gronkowski is not the same player this year. No. He does say that he expects more out of himself. Huge game next week against Pittsburgh. Huge. So if you have him, you've been playing him. If you survived, made it into the playoffs, he delivered for you, and you're probably moving on. Travis Kelce, Jared Cook, Eric Ebron. Eric Ebron, by the way, shout out. Franchise record in touchdowns in Indianapolis.
Nice.
Cameron Brate, 2 for 12 and 2.
That is the most Cameron Brate box score of all time. And we were talking this last week. It's like, are you going to be happy with him? He'll cap out at like 30 yards, but he's got a good chance to score.
He did that exactly.
2 for 12 with 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. Did you play Derek Carrier, Jason?
Just missed out on that.
Did you? Yeah. Team defenses that showed up: the Giants, the Bears, the Lions.
Oh,
again,
my!
You can start, and I'll tell you now. It's Monday. I'm gonna preview it. You can play the Atlanta defense next week.
Yeah, they're not good.
Atlanta's a terrible defense.
That's right. Play them.
And you should play them because they play at home against Arizona and Trent Sherfield. I'm leaving that there because I don't think you know what position he plays. And I'm not talking to you, Jason. I'm talking to the general public.
Okay.
He could be anything. Trent Sherfield.
Plays the tight receiver.
The tight receiver.
Or the
tight back.
He's the wide end.
The wide end, yeah. The Cardinals' offense is awful. Josh Rosen, not good.
Rising Stars of the Week.
Like, I don't want to take any Josh Rosen victory laps, right? I wrote a song about him.
Yeah, you did. It was very popular on Twitter. It was not kind to him when he was drafted. You were sad.
And as a Cardinal fan, once he was drafted, and I wrote the song disparaging him, I had to lean in and say, I had to buy in. I had to say, look, this has to be the future of the Arizona Cardinals. And I hope it's the past now.
I'll tell you what, man. I was ecstatic when he was drafted. I will not forget my joy. He was my number 2 quarterback coming into the draft. Prior to the NFL draft, I believed that he had enough to get it done in the NFL. He could. Certainly does not look like he has it. I mean, what he's shown on the field has been atrocious, but that was true of Jared Goff. That was true of Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah.
So I'm just hoping we can find –
well, Tony Romo's rumored to be their next head coach.
That's right.
That's right.
And I think Tony Romo can do some good things with him.
Tony Romo was freaking out with that no-look pass by Pat Mahomes.
He's been an NFL quarterback.
I know.
He goes, that's impossible. I was talking about this in the studio. Like, I think other quarterbacks watch Pat Mahomes, and they are just kind of sad that they don't get to do some of the things he gets to do. Like, that would be so much fun if I could do that.
Yeah.
You can't.
No, it's a cheat code. Rising Stars for this week, Jason. You and I have both selected a Rising Star, brought to you by Fantasy Champs. I'm going to go with the occasionally accurate, turnover-prone, unstoppable Josh Allen.
I don't hate it.
He has listen to these numbers. The last 3 games on the ground for Josh Allen. 13 for 99 and a touchdown. 9 for 135 and a touchdown. 9 for 101 and a touchdown. He is running for 100 yards a game as a quarterback. He is the QB10 this week with no touchdown passes, 2 interceptions, and 1 fumble as Detroit, New England the next 2 weeks. And the thing is,
can you not agree with me that scoring is broken for fantasy quarterbacks? People, listen to what he just said. He has no passing touchdowns. How many passing yards?
I think he had sub 100 or something.
Yeah, maybe around 100 passing yards, no passing touchdowns, two interceptions, and a fumble. He's top 10 quarterback because he rushes the ball like a running back.
He had 206 passing yards.
Oh, Oh, wow. So career high or what?
Here's where I could go both directions here because I can completely agree with you that that's just kind of silly. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a talking point, right?
Right.
But they are winning because of him.
They lost the game.
That's
true.
Sure. That's true. I mean, they have been very competitive because of him.
Yes, he's fine, but you're right. You have to adjust your thinking about rushing quarterbacks for fantasy. His last 3 weeks, right? The last 3 weeks, he's been exactly what you described, a somewhat, mostly not accurate, turnover-prone quarterback who has been the quarterback 4, the quarterback 2, and the quarterback 10. The last 3 weeks.
Yeah, and every time you choose, I mean, it's a little busted for the quarterback, obviously, but every time he chooses to run the football, he's obviously choosing not to pass the football. I mean, and you're not saying not to compensate the running. It's just what he's doing right now is pretty impressive. Detroit next week, I think you can play Josh Allen.
Yeah, I mean, coming into the last game, he had more rushing yards in back-to-back games than any quarterback since like the 1930s or something. I'm butchering that, but it was crazy. I would assume Cam had a bigger back-to-back rushing game, but no, Josh Allen is rushing the ball. I mean, we're talking 100 yards a game right now. That's just impossible to keep up, though, right?
Jason,
yeah,
there's no part of you that just thinks it makes it fantasy more fun, the rushing quarterback.
No, I do like broken I will admit, I will say this. There's a part of me that likes exploits in things. I like cheat codes in video games. I like loopholes in
any situation.
Sure. And so, yeah, there's part of me that goes, I like this because if my opponents don't realize the fruit of a rushing quarterback, I can take advantage of it. But
it makes more quarterbacks relevant. You have to admit that. If that scoring structure wasn't there, you'd have far fewer quarterbacks that are relevant.
But that makes it less fun.
To have less relevant.
To have as many relevant as there are.
Oh, I don't agree with
I would
that.
rather there be 15 relevant quarterbacks because it's not like tight ends where you're talking about
Do you
there's
agree with
3.
that, Brooks? No way.
I like it just how it is.
Yeah,
more fun.
all right. Well, I'm going to go with tight ends who have like 3 good, maybe 4 good tight end options. You are struggling if you're out there rolling out your
Trey Burton?
Trey Burton is the first name that came to mind.
Yeah.
I mean, and you're going, what can I do? Who can I start? Look, Ian Thomas did what we have wanted to happen when Greg Olsen went out. We talked about how when Greg Olsen went out the first time, it was crickets. Ian Thomas, he's this great athletic backup. He did not get involved, but he had double-digit targets, 11 targets, 9 receptions for 77 yards. That is a baseline that is so much higher than we would have ever hoped for. We're putting Ian Thomas in there thinking maybe you get a touchdown. Now this week they're going and playing against New Orleans. I mean, a matchup against the Saints, if you're struggling and you don't have a tight end to play, Ian Thomas is going to be on the radar for a streaming candidate. And then the week after that, Atlanta. I mean,
if you want to play Ian Thomas over Trey Burton, I actually think I get it. You should do that. I just want fantasy owners to know there are 4 or 5 of these guys that drop in and out every single week of that top 12. I mean, Ryan Griffin this week scored more points than Ian Thomas.
Exactly.
Derek Carrier scored more than Ian Thomas.
But there's actually a reason. There's a reason for Ian Thomas's. The others, why did Ryan Griffin have a good game?
Nobody knows.
Why did Derek Carrier have a good game?
I'm not disagreeing that you can play him.
The reason why Ian Thomas had a good game is because he became the starting
but he became the starting tight end for the first 4 games of the year, too. 2 for 10, 3 for 20, 3 for 38.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just I'm not saying don't do it.
Sure,
I'm just saying if he's one of the 6 that drops out of the top 12 every week, I wouldn't be surprised. That's all.
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
But you can't argue 11 targets. Look, we said this on the show on Thursday, Friday. It was if you're at that part of the tight end depth chart, so to speak, just go with snaps. Just go with the snaps. That's fine.
I would go with routes, but yeah, similar thing. Because snaps for a tight end, if they're blocking, they can have 100% of snaps and still not be fantasy relevant. But yeah, go.
Pooped in his big boy pants.
Oh, there were some big boy pants filled up.
I mean, the thing is, there's always poopers, but their pants aren't always quite as large.
Right. No, these were all Extra large.
And they're
extra large.
overflowing.
Overfilled. Jared Goff.
Caca.
Yeah, we're talking about poop, people. Jared Goff, 20 for 44, 4 picks. Mitch Trubisky. Last night, both of those guys combined for 1 touchdown and 7 interceptions.
Nathan Peterman
and frankly,
would be proud.
Quarterback scoring is broken. Interceptions should count for points.
Well, I do believe that if it's a pick six, I mean, you should get some credit, right? You threw a touchdown.
Last night was more of a 6 picks.
Yes.
It was not a pick 6.
It was a 7 pick.
Yeah. Cam Newton, though. That was 2 subpar games in a row, New Orleans next week. You don't know what life is left in this team with the disintegration of their playoff hopes. 26 for 42. You don't know if the shoulder's affecting something. He's not running the ball as much. I think it's a pivot time for Cam Newton. You can't lock yourself in. This is the one thing I'll say for fantasy owners. You listen to us every day, and we tell you get ready for the playoffs 6 weeks ago. I stashed Denver, their defense. They lost this week. They're probably out of the playoffs. They have to play at home against Baker Mayfield.
They lost Chris Harris Jr.
I'm probably still playing them this week.
But you're willing to pivot.
I'm willing to pivot because you can't lock in. You can't be like, oh, Cam Newton's my playoff quarterback no matter what. What if Josh Allen is there?
I was told a month and a half ago he was going to be good.
Would you play Josh Allen or Cam Newton this upcoming week, which seems incredible? I mean, at home against New Orleans.
Man, at home against New Orleans. Who's Josh Allen playing this week? I mean, it doesn't
Detroit at home in Buffalo.
Wow.
Where you're going to run the ball. Look, you probably play Cam Newton, right? Brooks, you play Cam Newton?
Yeah. I play Cam
Newton.
You do,
but I'm not going to be surprised if he lets you down.
No, see, here's the crazy thing is, like, who do you play? Cam Newton. Who finishes better? That's the tougher question, which, of course,
who
is
do you
like,
play and who finishes better?
I mean, they
you
should
would think they'd be aligned, yeah.
But they're not.
I'm going to give a small scolding to Phillip Rivers and Drew Brees. People expected more in these matchups, Cincinnati and Tampa Bay. Rivers, who always throws for 2 touchdowns, threw for 1 touchdown.
Is a bum.
Thursday night against Kansas City, and then Drew Brees against Tampa, 1 touchdown. He did run 1 in, just to be nice.
Yeah, that saved people.
Running backs, duds, Gurley, Fournette, Peterson, James White, Sony, Michelle, got Devlin again.
Devlin.
Brutal.
He's so good.
Josh Adams stunk. Tevin Coleman continues to stink. Gus Edwards got outscored by Kenneth Dixon, who scored and looked pretty good.
Kenneth Dixon is Gus Edwards wasn't horrifically bad. He had 16 carries, which you look for, 67 yards, which you do need more than just a finished line of that. But he wasn't the worst. But yeah, the issue is Kenneth Dixon. When they got around the goal line, it was Kenneth Dixon, and at the end of the game, it was Kenneth Dixon.
I'm just gonna speak to the pump the brakes was on the Patriots this week because of the fact that you didn't know what you get from Michelle or White or Gordon or Edelman. If you picked right, if you had Edelman or Gronk, you were great. If you had White, Michelle, Gordon, you weren't. Devlin, again.
It's just too hard to know. There's too many pieces.
Now, I guess this is episode 666.
Oh, no.
Brooks.
Yes.
Is that true?
No.
I don't even know what I'm supposed to play on here. Like,
Mark of the Beast.
Is there an evil sound for...
I don't think we want to draw attention.
No, I mean, it does seem like a place where King Godfrey would show up on episode 66.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that these players had bad weeks because they knew that Pooped in Their Big Boy Pants was on episode 666, and they're like...
I feel like James Devlin had a good game because of that.
Yeah. Deal with the Devlin?
Yeah, deal with the Devlin.
Justin Jackson, super disappointing.
Yeah.
It was not... that was just...
Let's talk about more disappointments. Antonio Brown, Kenny Golladay, Corey Davis, Cortland Sutton.
I think Antonio Brown is the one guy that probably cost people the playoffs the most because he's been really good, very consistent. The point is like there's a lot of players that pooped in their big boy pants that they might not have been in the playoffs or on the roster outside of quarterback.
Now, Chris Godwin, we expected a huge week from.
Huge. He's been averaging.
What if I told you? Oh, go ahead.
Anytime Deshaun Jackson has been out of the lineup, he's averaged over 100 receiving yards and 3/4 of a touchdown, and he was not there.
What if I told you he had 10 targets, Jason?
I would say, well, that's what he should have.
That's great. That's a lot of targets.
That's a lot of targets. With his great hands, I'll bet he was 8 for
74 and a touchdown, yeah.
Yeah, and maybe a touchdown.
1 for 10.
But how many targets to get to the 1 for 10?
Yeah, 10 targets, Jason.
So he was 8 for...
No.
I'm confused.
Yeah, listen. 9 of his 10 targets, get this, 9 uncatchable. Uncatchable targets.
Wow. Those shouldn't count as targets. Legitimately, uncatchable targets should not count as a target for the wide receiver. There should be like a fourth slash, and then be like, he had 4. He had 2 catchable targets, 9 uncatchable targets.
Well, because those targets mean that his catch rate was 10%, Jason.
Yeah,
10% is not good.
But his catch rate was actually 100% if 9 of the 10
were uncatchable. Yeah, all the ones he didn't catch, he couldn't catch because they weren't catchable.
Thanks, Jameis. Famous.
Adam Humphries, 8 targets, just 4 catches. Mike Evans, 4 catches and 86 yards. They have Baltimore next week. That's a problem.
That is no bueno.
In Baltimore. I think the question fantasy owners are going to have is, do you play Mike Evans next week in Baltimore? I guess you have to.
You probably do have to play him, but I'm going to pivot hard away from everybody there.
Cooks, Woods, Reynolds. If you were a Ram, you were a sad man.
It's going to be real bright days. You are back in L.A. next week against Philadelphia's banged-up secondary. I think it's a get-right. Jared Goff, Woods, Cooks, they're all gonna have great games next week.
Anthony Miller. Anthony Miller, nothing on 1 target. Taylor Gabriel, 3 catches. Allen Robinson, 5 for 42.
Look, every wide receiver in that Sunday Night Football game was terrible because every quarterback in that Sunday Night Football game was terrible. I mean, Mitchell Trubisky, the amount of just errant misses everywhere. I mean, his 2 interceptions were he had the wide receiver. He had him open. It was a great easy read and an easy throw, except he overthrew him by 4 yards and went right into the opponent's belly.
Philadelphia, their offense is broken right now. Golden Tate, 1 for 7, 20 of 52 snaps. You can't have confidence in that. Zach Ertz, just 5 for 38 on 8 targets. Dallas's defense is really good, but Philly's offense is really bad. So those 2 things met. And
what do you do with – so Carson Wentz actually was okay, right? Didn't he throw – I think he threw 3 touchdowns.
It ended up there?
I believe so. He started the game just horrific, so sometimes you get
no, you're right, 228 and 3.
228 and 3, so he was okay against a very difficult Dallas defense in Dallas. Next week he goes to play the Los Angeles Rams. I was just talking about that in L.A. High score. I'm sure Vegas will have this. What do you do?
I don't know. I don't like him. In L.A.
Okay.
Aqib Talib is back. Defensive line is making plays.
Their defense
and their offense has been broken. There's something dysfunctional about the Philadelphia offense. I don't know if it starts up front. I don't know if it starts with the lack of consistency at the running back position. They don't look the same. And I'm not going to get on that. It's week 15. I'm not going to get on the they're getting it right this week train. If I don't have Zach Ertz, I don't have confidence elsewhere.
What's crazy is I've seen some stuff about the difference in play calling for Doug Peterson between last year, the Super Bowl run, how great they were, and this season.
Conservative, or what is it?
Yeah, both conservative and also like the choice selection at certain down and distances between run and pass and the efficiency of both. Last year he was like one of the best at doing it the most efficient way, and this year he's basically one of the worst. Yeah. So some of it's just the players.
It's one of the things I love about the NFL, though, is that it is a very fine line between good and bad in the NFL. It doesn't matter how set up a team can be, they can surprise you. It's not like the NBA where the bad teams stay bad forever and the good teams are good forever. Zach Ertz, Jimmy Graham, Vance McDonald, David Njoku, Trey Burton, C.J. Uzomah, Chris Herndon, Matt Lacoste, the poopers at the tight end position. Ertz was the big one that hurt. Jimmy Graham, wouldn't you know, can't catch as well with a broken thumb.
No, it was very difficult for him to have his thumb not broken in this last game.
Yeah.
It was broken the entire game. And whenever he had a pass and he went to catch it, he had a broken thumb.
Yeah.
Or finger. I don't know which finger. I don't want to put bad juju on his thumb if his thumb is fine, but he certainly had a broken digit.
You giving up on Trey Burton now?
No. No, I gave up on Trey Burton a long time ago.
Okay.
I can't. What is dead may never die.
All right.
No, it would be impossible for me to give up what I
at
don't
home
have.
Against Green Bay next week.
Yeah, I'm not saying that Trey Burton is someone you can't play, but I've given up the hope.
Yes.
Like I'm not
expectations
going,
have
the
been,
expectations are gone. There's only guesswork and dart.
You're more of an Ian Thomas guy. You're more of an Ian.
Yeah, I guess I am.
Yeah,
I guess
I am.
I guess I am. Hey, Fuckland, this holiday season, send the gift of Omaha Steaks. Go to Omaha. Go to omahasteaks.com. Enter the code FANTASY into the search bar. Just search the word fantasy, and you'll get 74% off the Omaha Steaks family gift package. It's only $49.99. It is such a great deal. Order today. Get hand-cut sirloin steaks, premium pork chops, kielbasa sausages, burgers. Stock that freezer. Get so much more. Go to omahasteaks.com. Search fantasy in the search bar and add the family gift package to your cart. You won't regret it.
All right. For Jason Moore, Jay Grizz, Brooks, and myself, we say farewell. Enjoy the Monday Night Football game. We'll talk waivers tomorrow. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.